Okay, so what makes a red a red? First of all, they're driven by the motive of power. Every red, male, female, old, young, black, white, doesn't matter what you are. If you're red, your goal in life is to move from A to B. That's what makes you uniquely you. Now, how you do that is very, very different. Not everybody's the same. But some of the traits that seem to attract reds, for example, let's start with the positives. Red people get things done. One of the things I love most about reds in my life is I trust them. I count on them. I believe in them. They like to make things happen. They don't want to be lazy. They don't even understand why people don't choose to make something of their lives. They're very pushy about themselves. Like they make themselves perform, make themselves get things done. Reds don't often tell you about the abuse they give to themselves, but they do expect things of themselves. They expect high standards and performance from themselves. And while they're not going to give you anything to use against them, they know when they are performing and when they're not. Reds are very responsible. Like they like to make things happen. I call them pack mules because they'll take anything and make it happen for everybody. That's one of the great gifts that Reds bring to things. I always want to play on a competitive sports team with a red because they want to win. They're very competitive, very responsible. They always show up and they take responsibility for what they need to do to make things happen. Reds are very determined. They don't just back down easily. One of the things I enjoy most about Reds is knowing they will see things across the finish line. Now, a good Red will carry you across the same finish line. I worked for a company for many, many years with a Red leader that I came to respect and love deeply. And this man always wanted to carry everybody over the finish line, not just himself. A bad Red will just kick you to the curb before you get to the finish line. And there's the difference. They're both going to get to the finish line, but a good Red brings you with them. A bad Red kicks you to the curb. So some of the negative, one more positive. One more positive about Reds is their confidence. I love the way Reds, like they go to a job interview and they're asked, can you do this? And they always say yes. They can't. There's no way they know how to do that. But they'll go home that night on YouTube and find a way to do it. They'll make themselves know what they need to know to get the job. The goal is to get the job. But they're not going to tell you about their flaws in the process. And because they make things happen, they're confident. And that's the essence of how you build confidence, is to watch Reds, because they do. Now the negatives. Reds can be very much about themselves. Probably the hardest teenager you'll ever raise is a red teenager who's very selfish at that age and then also red. So they think they're always right. It's like in the DNA. Honestly, Reds believe they're right. Now, often they are. That's what's ironic. They pay a lot of attention. But there is such a thing as a dumb red. So they're dumb, but they're red. So they think they're not dumb, but they are. And that's difficult. And if you've married one of those, we owe you for life for taking them off the street because they're difficult. But a smart red still struggles in that they always have to be right. And in being right, if you disagree with them, then you're probably wrong. Reds can debate, by the way, all the time. They don't personalize things like that at all. They love to debate. But if you personalize it, you're in trouble with them because they're going to be relentless. They're going to want to win the argument. But they love a good debate and they respect people that can argue effectively with them. Just know that when you deal with a red, you've got to know your facts. You've got to know your stuff. Another red negative is their insensitivity. It's so funny to me. I'll watch a red and they'll say to somebody, you know you're fat. And the person will go, what? Like you need to say that? And then the red will say, you don't know you're fat? Now you really have a problem. Because they are so matter of fact. They don't mean it as harshly as it comes across. So remember that when you're dealing with a red, you can't personalize things that they say, or you're going to miss the beauty of what they're saying and how they're saying it. Red. What do I like about Reds? I like them to lead. I like them to get things done. I like them when they speak their mind. They're assertive. They tell me what they believe. I remember wondering what a red is thinking. What don't I like about a red? I don't like them when they're selfish. I don't like them when it's always their win at my expense. I don't like it when a red is rude. When their time's more important than anyone else's. They'll come late because their time's more important than yours is. I don't like it when a red is condescending. They think they're smarter than somebody else and they talk down to them. There's so much about Reds. By the way, just so you know, for me personally, when I wrote the color code, they were the color I struggled with most. Today, I don't have a red I don't enjoy, like, or get along with. What's changed? Not the red, me. I started embracing what's so right about them, what's so good about them, and because of that, they have valued me more because they respect me, because I'm more able to speak their language as well as my own. That's red.